So you don't fall like under the same as Bergen County and what they have to do in terms of? Okay, and what is the paper for your legal notices for OPS? Is that?
What do we use? Do we use Report News, or what do we advertise in? Well, we change our meeting.
It depends what you put your advertising for.
Well, let's say we change a meeting.
It's going on the record.
The
It
record-
goes in the record. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, me again. I guess I did want to say, I do understand it. It was a very big request, and I was an auditor, and I was on the other end, I was audited, so I do understand that it takes a lot of time, and I hope, the compromise was a good one, that we can, do you guys have an idea off the top of your head how much legal expenses were, just for negotiations, just?
I don't even know what they were for the year. I mean, what was it budgeted last year? Do you even know?
Top of my head, no.
It's under 100,000, right?
Yes.
I believe it's 60.
60 or 70, in that range, I want to say.
Yeah.
But don't forget, that's everything. That's not any.
Oh, I understand.
That's any personnel issue. That's also our special ed. So it's a lot of stuff that goes on.
I understand, yeah. And, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I guess, when do you think you could have the estimate to me? Just as an estimate.
Where is it? Is that the attorney's office?
The estimate for what total expenses are for this year?
Just the total cost of the
In
negotiations,
16, 17?
this round of negotiations. I don't know when they started, I'm not really
I
sure.
believe it started in March.
It's all
It's
part of
on
the
in
numbers. I
March.
was trying to get to a number, so I'd have to come up with my number in-house and compare it to attorney's and get an estimate for it.
All right, and I guess I feel like just from thinking of, from your perspective too, isn't this a number that you would want, just to know how much every round of negotiations will cost you? So if the teachers ask for something, and I'm just making up numbers here, for very low numbers, I understand, for $10,000, but the next round of negotiations is gonna cost you $12,000, wouldn't you kind of think, you know what I mean? Like, wouldn't that be useful, and for, maybe I'm thinking of it too simply?
Yeah, that would make sense, right? And I'm sure we would talk about the soft costs, if you want to call it that. But this round of negotiations, and I've been through 3, we didn't have that luxury. When we went into negotiations, the other parties walked out. So, we've been trying every time we get together to submit some sort of proposal to keep both parties engaged, and they end up not engaged. So it's not like we have an option here. We're on this train and we're not the conductor. So, we're hoping every time we meet that it's the last time we meet.
I have to imagine both sides are hoping that, and parents too.
I've put together countless spreadsheets,
Right.
running through countless scenarios, looking at things other than salaries like benefits, health insurance, countless hours, and it's all free to the district. But if it was anyone else, it would be tens of thousands of dollars worth of analysis, and I end up throwing it away because nobody wants to talk. We have an impasse over health benefits. We're one of, I don't know how many districts in the state, many that are in negotiations, and they're in impasse over the same thing for multiple years, longer than we are. So,
There's also plenty of districts in the area that have settled and have offered money for the health benefits.
sure.
Not several. There might be 4.
Okay, that's several.
And we
That's not
all,
several.
and we
There's
almost,
600 districts in New Jersey.
Okay, that's several locally that
But
have,
you
that
have
have
to see
settled.
what was also given on the other side.
I understand that. I'm just saying that if you're going to put it out there that there are some districts in the area that have also settled on it.
It took 2 years though, those districts.
It doesn't make it right.
No,
It doesn't make it right. These are people's livelihoods. These are the people that teach our children. I mean, it doesn't make it right. You can throw back an answer on everything. It doesn't make it right.
so I'm just gonna make a statement from the board and the negotiation committee. We wanna settle. We come into negotiations wanting to settle every time. That is our
Yeah, but
plan.
wanting
July
and
13th.
having something that's a good contract. I mean, I want to win $1 million. Every time I buy a lottery ticket, I want to win $1 million. But it's not feasible if I don't have the winning ticket. Well, if you're not offering a reasonable contract, then you're all the want in the
What makes
world.
you think we're not offering a reasonable contract?
What's that?
What
what makes you think we're not offering a reasonable contract?
I'm saying, what makes me think is that because you guys won't do
Well, just
anything to help
because-
with the health benefits.
Well, that's not true.
So then let us hear your side of it. Tell us what you're offering.
We'll just tell you that that's not true. There's different ways to make up for health benefits. There's many different ways to save money on health benefits, right?
Absolutely.
One is to lower contributions, one is to give money towards the contributions, one is to take a lower health plan. There's many different ways, right?
Well, take a lower health plan means less coverage. Let's compare apples to apples.
saying,
That's
okay,
just
so I'll
like
give
the
you-
president is trying to give everybody access to different health care, but that would be at different
We're
costs.
not gonna discuss politics here.
No, I'm just saying, it's apple, you have to compare apples to apples.
Amy,
But
do you have a question? Amy,
No, go ahead, you can finish.
we're done, go ahead.
Well, I just want to say, I know you said, Dorothy, that you want to settle. I think one of the things that people in the public have to reconcile with that statement is the fact that you went into this budget year, what is it, 1.5, increasing your legal services budget by a degree of 1.5, knowing you weren't going to settle. You made that decision with your budget,
That's absolutely not
planning
true.
to
That's
to
absolutely
have
not true.
more money, knowing that it may be needed in this
We
situation.
always, whenever we're going into a year with negotiations, we up the legal budget. We have to. That's just standard. What if we didn't? So if we settle soon, we have extra money.
We
We
have to be
always do it.
prepared.
What I
Of
think
course.
is there's not a parent in this district who thinks you should be spending more money on lawyers than, say, extracurricular expenses. And right now, you're more than double for your legal than extracurricular. Okay? And that's disconcerting.
First of all, we're just budgeting the money, we're not spending the money. Are we
Well,
spending?
we'll find out, right? We'll
Yes,
find
I
out.
don't know, but we spend the money as we have to spend the money. If we have a meeting, the attorney's gonna be there, it's gonna cost us. When we talk about budgeting, and what you see in the budget, and increases in the budget, is we're putting money aside. We are hoping that money's still gonna be there at the end of the year. But as a board, we have to be responsible that every line item is funded properly. And I don't wanna run in a situation where we're 3/4 of the way through the school year, and we have these legal expenses that are gonna now dip into other accounts. Accounts that are dedicated towards tuition, or, something else that's of value. So, yeah, you may see, how could you develop a budget where we're already at, a high amount, and you're budgeting higher? Unfortunately, that's just part of the governance that you have to do. It's not something you want to do. It's just you have to prepare for the worst.
It may be true, and I'm not gonna say that's not good planning, but ultimately, the history in this district speaks for itself. When was the last time you settled a contract on time?
The last one before
The
this.
last one was pretty fast, actually.
9 months, I
That's
believe.
very
That's
fast.
very
Okay, great. I'm talking about when you settled it without all this extra legal services and just sat down at the table and settled the contract.
I'd like to say that technically, the time where the contract expires and where we actually have a signed agreement, is a very long period of time. Way in between there is the actual agreement, the verbal agreement, where we've reached an agreement. Afterwards, we have to agree on salary guides, and then the legalese of each letter in the contract. So there's a lot of back and forth, sometimes over several months, on is it theirs, or ours, or shall, or should, over little details that you'd think are just, you gotta be kidding me. But it's all part of, when you're reaching a legal agreement, it has to be perfect. And as far as the salary guides, we may agree to a total number, but we have to now spread that out through every step based on education and based on years of service. And sometimes, they want it spread this way, or this way, or this way, or we'd like to add more into these areas, but we're running short on money. So, what's the compromise? So that takes time. And so that number that we're talking about, 9 months, or 12 months, it's not really where we finally reach an agreement. We reached an agreement way before that. So I just wanted to throw it out there. It's always not as simple or as straightforward as what the numbers seem to be.
All right, listen, that's great. Ultimately, as a taxpayer and a parent, I want to see less nonsense, less legal fees, less controversy, more focusing on our kids. I'm sure you agree, so let's do it.
We all agree with you.
I- One more question, as a matter of course, the F2, where it has Mr. Bissix, and there's 2 stars, what is that, those stars refer to? Is that refer to the 2016, the same thing that's on the, that's below it, or is that?
Yes, see below it says 60 salary remain in effect unless otherwise stated, or adjustment made after settlement, right,
So you're included under the contract?
No.
It's a separate contract?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Questions here?
Sorry. I guess for, just to clarify, because I like to wrap my head around things, well, I know you mentioned that you really want to settle, and I know there's no teachers in attendance.
We always wanna settle.
I know you do. I'm sure they do too. I mean, this is their livelihood. I just imagine if it was my salary up in the air, I would really want to settle too. So just since none of them are here, and I guess I'm just wondering if when you go into a brand new negotiating season and you budgeted all this money for legal, which I totally get you need to do, and I think that's great that you prepare for it. In the first round of negotiations, when you're making your offer, I don't really know, do you take into like the mindset of, okay, I looked at the numbers, I believe a 1% raise for all of the teachers would be about $42,000, if that's around close. So I have no idea what legal fees are, but let's just say $40,000. Do you take that into account, say, okay, you know what, we're gonna offer you this extra 1%, so we won't have to pay the lawyers, and we're gonna give it to you instead, and this is the best offer that we have, you know what I mean, do you?
We won't have it the next year, because we don't budget that high next year, but, no, we don't really say we're not gonna say we'll hold it on our lawyers. If we could settle at the beginning, it would be great.
Well, I mean, I guess the first round, oh, yeah.
I can respond. Your line of thought is exactly how we think during our meetings. I mean, even time is measured in percentages of salary increases. So we take into account, we monetize everything. So yes, the attorney fees and how much we're spending, how much could we have put into salaries for time or whatever. It goes both ways in the negotiations. Nothing is free, everything costs money. Very rarely do we discuss whether it's, you know, the number of days, the number of professional days, the hours, the lunch time, the other times during the day. It all gets monetized and it all gets part of the calculation. I mean, we do that, and the teachers do that, and their reps do it, and our lawyers do it. So don't worry, we're looking at it.
Oh, no, I'm not, I guess it just seems like such a, I hate to say waste of money, I'm sorry to the lawyers, I know. You know, I'd rather pay the teachers than make, my sister's, sorry, Erin, my sister's a lawyer, and I'd just rather make the teachers.
I'm gonna say this to all 3 of you, and I said it to you, Amy, in the parking lot, and I know you guys are kind of new here, this is your first round, so it's upsetting to hear from the teachers, but we all here on this board, you know, a lot of us grew up in town, some of us went to school here, we've been here a long time. Our kids went to this school, okay? We love the teachers here, okay? We've had some great teachers here, we've some great relationships with them, okay? Even though some of them won't admit it in public, we do have some great relationships. I would put to you, why do you think we don't want the best for our teachers? Because we do. We do the best we can, and we want to give them as much as we can, and that's what we strive to do. So I put to you, like, what, there's an attitude that you're here just keeping the teachers down, you don't want to give them. Why do you think we would do that? This is our town. I grew up here, I went to this school. Okay, I want the best for this district. So it's a big picture in this district. Every person on this board, I think I'm speaking for, that they want the best for this district and the teachers. So when we go into this room, we're not going into this room to